Finally, spring is here, and that only means one thing: baseball season. So today we're going to look at MLB 15 The Show, the latest installment of the annual baseball series from Sony Computer Entertainment. But does this year's version hit a home run, or does it hit a really weak grounder back to the pitcher? Let's find out. I'm Jeff from GamerPops, and this is the MLB 15 The Show video review. One of the first things I saw when I booted up MLB The Show 15 for the first time was a question asking how much I play video games. I love this because it's basically asking you if you want regular or more accessible controls. Given how complicated a baseball simulation can be, I appreciated this option being given, right off the bat, so to speak. I chose the easier controls since I haven't played a console simulation-style baseball video game in about 20 years. Of course, once you get past that initial easy question, welcome to this. The main menu for MLB The Show is an initially daunting display of various modes, options, a store, and other aspects of the game. It'll all be pretty familiar for the acquainted, but for a first-timer it's a little intimidating at first. Should I play Exhibition? What about Practice? What the heck is Diamond Dynasty? Oh, there's Road to the Show, and there's what I think is Franchise Mode. My goodness, there is certainly no shortage of things to do in this game. What I like about MLB 15 is that the different game modes scratch a different particular itch. Let's start with your basic baseball, whether it be an exhibition game, an online contest, or a game featuring a particular day's matchups, the MLB The Show Live part that you're seeing here right now, which including rosters and starting pitchers and all that stuff, including my oh-so-beloved Blue Jays, who are, not starting the season off as well as expected. Shocking, surprise, surprise. Oh, look, it's 4-0 for Tampa Bay. Great. What I like about this is that I can now have the option to play it myself and see if I can do any better than the Jays are right now. It may seem like the most basic mode, but wow, did Sony San Diego ever pay attention to detail. The parks look outstanding, even down to Rogers Center and their awful, terrible marketing everywhere with the Rogers name plaster and everything. And the player models have certainly come a long way since I last played a baseball game. There are better looking parks in this, of course, by the way, but I'm from near Toronto area, so I picked the Blue Jays, obviously. They even enhanced the lighting to better match the time of year that you're playing in, so that shadows are more accurate. Animation is quite smooth for the most part, with only a few awkward moments here and there. Fielding isn't too bad, although it gets a little awkward because the path to the ball isn't as direct as it has been in previous games. If you choose the full-on television presentation, which I don't because it'll take 3.5 hours or 4 hours to play like a regular baseball game, it's like watching an actual game, but you will likely turn off like I did pretty quickly because all the downtime gets to be a little bit much if you just want to sit there and play. All in all, it's just a really well-presented game. It looks fantastic. The sound is fantastic. If you have a surround sound system, you're going to hear random chatter coming from all around you. I mean, presentation is just, it's amazing. And I love seeing, the strides that sports games have made, not being a big-time sports game player since I last played a baseball simulation game so many years ago. Controlling the game will depend on what kind of controls you want to play with, though even the simple controls are quite involved, given all the elements involved with playing the game of baseball. Still, 90% of your gameplay uses easy-to-understand controls, even down to directional hitting and control pitching with the pulse mechanic. As you probably notice, the little circle going back and forth and up and down against the target. Bigger the circle, the more chance you're going to miss it. If you can nail that tight circle, then you're going to be able to paint the corners with the best of them. It didn't take me and my oldest son too long to figure out how even the most basic mechanics work, and he's 11 years old. Going beyond the game proper, you can get into franchise mode. This is where you can play as your favorite franchise over multiple years, and also scratch your general manager itch. Think you can do a better job than your team's current GM? Have at it. Just perusing the menus in franchise mode, it's mind-boggling to see the level of detail of things you can control. If you can do it in real baseball, you can pretty much do it here. Sponsorships, scouting. Even your contract as a GM is in play now. If you don't do well in about 3 years, they're going to fire you. I even liked how there was, for the acquainted who know everything about the little nuances of baseball, free agency and acquisitions and whatnot. What's a Super 2, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be all hat to you. But if you don't know what some of that stuff is, there's an explanation for all the different ways you can acquire players, and it says, okay, even things like the somewhat arcane rules of the Rule 5 draft. Okay, here's exactly what Rule 5 draft is. Here's how it works. You got to keep a guy on your roster for the whole year, and that's it. I will admit that I just didn't have the head to get into this particular mode very far. I started fiddling around with it, but from the playing around I did, because I'm not usually a franchise mode kind of guy, you get a real appreciation and respect for those who love playing the franchise modes, like my colleague Greg does. He's big into the franchise modes of these games, and you could lose yourself in this mode for ever, I guess. You could just play this mode all you want, and you will find pretty much everything you want in a baseball management experience right here. Diamond Dynasty is the virtual collectible card game mode that seems to be all the rage in sports games these days, yet still mixes in actual baseball. In Diamond Dynasty, you attempt to build a team with baseball cards, some better than others obviously, that you acquire by playing the game itself or buying packs of booster cards. It's a constant game of trying to upgrade your deck to build the most stacked team possible that you can then take on the road to play against either the CPU or, better yet, other players online. Now, in a nice touch, you can play a somewhat asynchronous mode called Extra Innings if you'd like to test your deck against other folks, but don't have the online connection or just don't want to deal with playing someone real time online. If you played Magic, Pokemon, Hearthstone, or other collectible card games, you're going to see the mechanics of those, and they're going to feel familiar, except you actually do get to play baseball as part of it. There's even a chance element, which is kind of neat, as your starting pitcher is picked from random from your starting rotation of 5 before you start to play. So that's kind of neat. Now, there have been some changes from last year's mode for Diamond Dynasty to make it a little bit more streamlined. Now you just have one super player. That's it. Like last year, you could have made like multiple creative players, and also cards don't expire anymore. So that roster management aspect, where after you use a card for a certain amount of games, you lose it. Once you have a card here, it's there. It's yours to keep for as long as you want, or until you decide that you just don't want it anymore. Now, back to the super player, they can be plugged in at any position. Pitcher, hitter, whatever, doesn't matter. And you can do that depending upon where your needs are and where they're strongest. Now, my center fielding spot has never been particularly strong, but my second base spot is really bad, as you can see here. So, and plus it's not too bad, but my player, he's best at second base, and he's better than what I have. So I'm going to put him in a second base and play him there. Now, this player can be trained or upgraded by feeding them cards you don't want. So, like, you may have fed all those duplicate baseball cards to your bicycle spokes when you were a kid. Now, depending upon the position and the attributes of that card, your super player will get a bump at that position, which is pretty cool. You feed them lots of cards, they're going to get a lot better. You'll need to balance this a bit, though. You see, I'm pretty much feeding my player with abandon. That's just the strategy I'm taking. But the trade-off is that if I keep doing this, I'll never get the bonus stat boost that comes from collecting all the players for one team. You do that, you unlock a Legends card from that team. When you unlock the Legends card, it gives you certain stat boosts and whatnot, which are pretty valuable, plus the whole collecting aspect. So, there's the trade-off of that. There's something fascinating to me about this mode, though I'm not sure how I feel about the arms race of deck building, but that's not exactly out of line with the collectible card game genre to begin with. I just wish I wasn't doing it, on top of a $70 starter deck. Still, it's quite a bit of fun, and it fits the genre really well. Now, coming to my personal favorite mode, Road to the Show, the MLB 15 The Show's career mode. For all intents and purposes, it's a sports RPG, not unlike other games that offer this feature. You start as a young prospect at your chosen position, and you play in a little tournament, and you work to impress the scouts and hopefully get yourself drafted. In my case, I decided to play as a starting pitcher, focusing on boosting my control and change of speed capabilities. I've just always had a little bit of a fascination with the pitching position. Always wished I was when I was a kid. Was woefully inadequate at it, so I usually caught or played outfield, but it is what it is. So now I get to live out my dreams vicariously through a video game, which is pretty neat. Now you sort of get to lay out your attributes as you want. You want more control. You get a certain number of points to start with, and then you train yourself from there. You practice and whatnot, and eventually you get drafted, which I did by the Cleveland Indians. Which whatever. I could have chosen my own team, but I wanted the full experience. Like, just throw me wherever I want. Wherever you want, and I'll try to work my way up to the majors. Now, it's just fun. Plus, I got to skip all the stuff that maybe I didn't want to do. I'm terrible at hitting in this game, so I just got to do pitching all the time, and it was always just from my perspective. When I was done my inning, I sat down. If I kept going. If I pitched a complete game, great. If not, they took me out of the 6th inning. That's fine too. But that's it. That's all I'll ever see. I don't have to worry about the other aspects. One of the things that maybe isn't so great about the show is the returning monetization in the game. Now, they're not the only offender for this. A lot of sports games are doing this now, and I'm not particularly fond of it. But it is what it is, and and I mean, with the Diamond Dynasty especially, I get why people would want to continue to put money into a game, because it is a collectible card game, so you kind of expect that kind of stuff. As you play, you slowly earn in-game currency called Stubs, which will serve to help you upgrade various things in many of the game's modes. You can use it to help get extra budget for your franchise. You can splurge on virtual card backs, which I did, in the hopes of upgrading your Diamond Dynasty team, if you're too impatient to deal with the slow trickle of cards that the game gives you. It's the thrill of opening a pack of cards from any collectible card game, hoping for a rare, powerful card, but without actual real cards. But on the plus side, you'll never worry about little brother coming in and bending all the crap and never being able to use it anymore. Or use your Stubs to buy training points for your Road to the Show player and use them for performance enhancement, training up some of your attributes. If you're the impatient type, instead of earning Stubs in-game, you can just buy them outright in the kind of Smurfberry buying tactics we've come to love and expect from the free-to-play world. But this time with the game you've paid $60 to $70 for. But by the way, the review copy that I'm using was a sort of bonus edition, which gave me 15 free card packs and I believe 12,000 Stubs to start with, and I think that may have cost an extra. I think it was an extra $10, something like that. So, if you're into this kind of mode, you may want to check out that particular offering. Look, I've never been a fan of this kind of pay-to-win philosophy, and it really tastes bitter in a full-price game, but Major League Baseball's never had a salary cap, so if teams can pay to win there, then why can't players of MLB The Show, I guess? So that's our look at MLB 15 The Show. Really solid baseball simulation, as usual. Not a lot of change, but enough change that it still feels somewhat fresh for those who have played the games before. It's a great game to play with your family. Like I mentioned, I played a game or two with my 11-year-old son. Obviously, the nature of baseball is family-friendly content, unless you decide to get into a beanball contest, like perhaps Owen and I got into at one point, trying to hit each other with pitches. But at least no bench-clearing brawls broke up because of it. If you're into baseball, you're gonna love this game, obviously. Even if you're not into baseball, and as someone who's kind of a lapsed baseball fan, and just only sort of casually follows it now, there was still a lot of stuff for me to enjoy. Even if I didn't want to get into the baseball stuff so much, stuff like Diamond Dynasty was a really nice distraction. Road to the Show was terrific because I'm not playing the entire game of baseball. I'm doing what my pitcher was doing, and it was nice. That's the nice little jump in, jump out kind of gameplay that that's all I have time for. But there's certainly a lot more there. It's a lot deeper than that if you want to get into it, the franchise mode and the online leagues and things along those lines. So no shortage of things to do. Great value. I'm not a fan of the microtransaction stuff, but I've covered that part already. Not a bad game at all. Something I would recommend for baseball fans and even some non-baseball fans. So thanks a lot for checking our review. For more content, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/GamerPops, or click the links below. Don't forget to subscribe to be notified when new videos come out. And don't forget our written website's still up there, GamerPops.com, where we have summaries of all these video reviews and other content. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll talk to you again real soon.